All right, so let's get into our week 4 takeaways. And let's start with this one. This was interesting by Fox. So we'll get into the Baker Mayfield, Tom Brady thing. There was a quote that Fox ran with Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady in the booth. And it was like during a kickoff, them calling the Buccaneers-Eagles game, basically saying, there was a quote board, Baker Mayfield saying on a podcast, the building was a little bit different with Tom in there. Obviously, playing-wise, Tom is different. He had everyone dialed in, high-strung environment. So I think everyone was stressed out. Then he said they wanted me to, them being the Buccaneers, they wanted me to come in, be myself, bring joy back to football a little bit, and just continue to raise the level of competition. So Kevin Burkhardt shows us Tom Brady on the broadcast. Then they cut to them in the booth. And Tom says this. He goes, I thought stressful was not having Super Bowl rings. So that was a mindset of a champion that I took to work every day. This wasn't daycare. If I want to have fun, I would have went to Disneyland with my kids. Like, eviscerated Baker. And they kick it. And then Kevin Burkhardt's like, no, you got something. Like, keep going. And like Kevin Burkhardt's like, A+, A+, broadcaster. Then Tom goes, there was a way to approach this game, and that's with the right mindset. Push each other out of your comfort zone. Great teammates do that. I have someone like Gronk. I have someone like Evans. There are high expectations of us to make sure we go out and deliver. And there was like, like when he was saying this. Mm-hmm. But then you point out, you said to me, they're like, I watched the podcast, and Baker said after the game, he's like, that was taken out of context. It was, because the way Baker said that was a lot of, this is how Brady is. This is how I am. He is that way. You come in with 6 Lombardi rings, you can stress everyone out as much as you do because you literally have proven you can do it, and that's why you make everyone better. Baker said, is like, I came in, no one expected the Bucs to be good. They wanted me to keep it light, just be happy, keep everyone energized, and I did that. Like, that's how Baker described it, and you watch it, and it's like, nasty work by Fox to do that to Baker Mayfield.
Totally agree. I hadn't even heard of the quote before that broadcast.
Exactly.
And let me just say, the Fox broadcast knew what they were doing
1,000%.
when they teed Tom Brady up for that. And I wouldn't expect Tom Brady to say anything else. He's a competitor. Even though he's a broadcaster now, he still has that like competitor's mindset.
He's like, bro.
And he's going to take it personally.
Yes.
That's what competitors do. And he's going to come back like that. But truly, I agree. I watched the first bit, and if you're looking to go find this,
what was it called? What was
it was Corey Kluber's podcast.
Yeah, Corey Kluber has a podcast.
It's Corey Kluber's podcast, but if you want to go listen to it and hear it for yourself, it's right at the beginning, so you don't have to go very far in it.
But finish this episode of Boston's End of the chat, then go listen.
Yes,
okay.
Thank you, George. No, the message that Baker had was really, it was just around being yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what gets the best out of a team. Obviously, if Baker Mayfield were to come into that locker room and act like Tom Brady, he would lose respect immediately because you have to be that good in order to like have that militaristic mindset.
Yeah. He said too, on the podcast, you hear a lot of good stories, but it's just different. We have very different personalities. I wasn't trying to wear his shoes or anything like that. He made it to his level, being himself and doing it his way. And when I listened to the answer, like, I didn't even catch the everyone high-strung environment, stressed out. Like, it was just like, and they moved on to the next topic. It wasn't that big of a deal.
Yep.
Fox made out to something it wasn't. And again, Tom Brady's been okay as a broadcaster. They were like, how do we get something out of him? How do we get that fiery Tom Brady? At least they found a way, but it's kind of messed up.
I agree. And it's not even like when Baker Mayfield was saying it, that he was saying that the stressed out environment was bad. He was just saying that's what worked for Tom Brady. That's not what works for me and for this group.
Yeah.
And so I didn't.
He's like, I'm Baker, he's Tom, we're different. He said, he's like, I'm not gonna come in and act like Tom Brady. Like, I know that's not me.
It wasn't a critique on how he did things, and that would have been ridiculous for Baker Mayfield to do it. I'm sure looking back, Baker Mayfield probably like, well, I don't know. I feel like Baker Mayfield like sticks to his guns. I bet he wishes he didn't do anything differently.
No, but like he said, yeah. Exactly.
I mean, if it was
go
me,
watch the
and
clip, I'd say.
Exactly, go watch the clip. But it's like, I maybe like be a little bit more careful of how you choose your words. But I don't think so, because I think that like what he said is the truth.
Him being him is what got him to be back to being a Pro Bowl level quarterback. Got him a $100 million contract. And if I was him, when I post my post-win Instagram post, I would do like picture, cool caption, last slide, me saying the Tom Brady quote. That's what I'm going to predict. I haven't checked social media. I hope Baker does that. Let's get into some other games. So going through some takeaways. Colts-Steelers game. Anthony Richardson, his last 3 games, first game of the season, 9 for 19, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Last 2 weeks ago, 17 for 34, touchdown, 3 interceptions. Last week, 10 for 20, 2 interceptions. Leading the NFL with 6 INTs. Takes a weird hit to his back hip. Comes out for 2 plays. Comes in, and Shane Steichen runs an RPO with him right away. Like, what are you thinking? Doesn't get touched, barely by TJ Watt, and takes a knee. Joe Flacco comes in and leads them to a dub. 2 passing touchdowns. Joe Flacco's back, I guess. A guy that is like literally 50, not literally. He's 50 years old at this point, but like Flacco's not going anywhere. Tough to see from Anthony Richardson. Only 4 games played his rookie season. Now 4 games into his sophomore season, banged up with a hip injury. I hate seeing that from a young QB. But Flacco right now gives the Colts the best chance to win, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Richardson, he's literally the youngest quarterback in the league. He's 22 years old.
Yeah.
But I mean, frustrating with the call from Steichen, like you said, to make it why would you do that?
At least wait for your defense to be on the field. You take him into the medical tent or the locker room and then go. But like, if he took another vicious hit, like that could have been so much worse. Like, why run it with him? Or let Joe Flacco finish the drive.
Exactly.
Just let him finish the drive.
But of course, Joe Flacco would play great against the Steelers, a team that he's seen a million times. Yeah. He's played that Mike Tomlin defense like over and over again. So no surprise to really see.
Imagine how pissed Steelers fans were to see that. Like, Richardson's out. Also, like, Colts, very bad, like, the worst run defense. One of the worst run defenses in the league. I mean, Steelers averaged 4 yards a rush, ran for 122 yards, but, like, I thought this was a shoo-in. Like, Justin Fields, Najee Harris, like, they'd run all over them and win, and the Colts won 27-24. Joe Flacco, 62% completion percentage, 168 yards, 2 touchdowns, while Jonathan Taylor ran for 88 yards and 1 touchdown.
Yeah, so in the first quarter, the NFL's worst rushing defense in the Colts, the Steelers only had a single rushing yard against them, and the Colts had 70 rushing yards against one of the best defenses just in the first quarter. It's like set the tone from the get-go. But I think Anthony Richardson might be the one QB in the league. You know, I said before that he's only 22, and I'm almost like I'm putting him in this rookie class almost because he only had those 4 games last season.
If he played in the NBA, he'd be up for Rookie of the Year.
And the one thing with him is like the accuracy just wasn't there for him in college, and I don't understand how it would improve in the NFL.
You would think, I mean, it wasn't there for Josh Allen when he first came in the league, and he was thrown into his starting role. You'd think with time, there's been no improvement there. And that's what scares me. There hasn't been that improvement from Florida. Like, at least I want to see rookie year to second. No, it still hasn't been there. So the Buccaneers actually won the game. Like, all the talk we gave about Baker and all that. They end up beating the Eagles. I mean, just run them off the floor. Baker Mayfield completed at his first 14 completions with a minute to go, minute into the second quarter, completed 14 passes, 2 passing, 1 rushing touchdown. I mean, he was just a man on fire. This Eagles defense I thought would be one of the best in the league, especially with Vic Fangio running it. They don't scare me at the defensive line. They don't scare me on the outside with all the investments they made in the draft. The Eagles are in trouble, and Jalen Hurts continues to turn the ball over in really inopportune times. I am like worried about the Eagles. This Bucs team getting back on track. And by the way, they sacked Jalen Hurts, I believe, 6 times.
Yeah, no, Jalen Hurts, the turnover issue with Jalen Hurts, I mean, that's really been the headline, I think, for the Eagles.
Yeah.
8 turnovers in 2022, and since 2023 he has 27. And the thing too, it's like the fumbles are there. He has had 9 fumbles in his first 4 seasons as a pro, I think, in each of them. Yeah. But last year, more of those fumbles were lost, so I think that comes to mind a little bit. But it's really the interceptions. Like last year, the interception, he had through 15 interceptions last year. And when I was trying to do some research, like figuring out what is going on with Jalen Hurts, what could be the cause for this, it's like Shane Steichen, who we just said, why would you call that a play call?
He was his offensive coordinator 2 years ago.
He was the offensive coordinator back in 2021. Yeah. And that's when the offense looked really good. That was his first year taking over the play calling duties from Sirianni. And back then, they were utilizing Jalen Hurts' strengths. He's a power runner. He's more of a north-south guy. He, squatted 500 pounds at Alabama.
He squats? No way. I didn't know.
You didn't? Wait,
I'm joking.
Oh, okay.
Because all you hear is that he squats 500 pounds.
Yeah, okay. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, George. Anyways, and he's just like different from a lot of other quarterbacks in that sense. And so they were more focused on the run game then, and now they're kind of trying to turn him more into a pocket passer, it seems. Yeah. And I just don't necessarily know if that's his game.
Just watching that game, they were down 10, 24-14 in the third, in the red zone, 1st and 10, held on to the ball too long, stripped, turnover, game. Shot. Again, no A.J. Brown, no Devontae Smith, no Lane Johnson, but it's the turnovers for Jalen Hurts. We're not going out his final numbers. You texted about this one. You were excited. Sam Darnold, MVP, 4th best odds in the NFL at 13-1, behind Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and C.J. Stroud.
I mean, the touchdown pass to Justin Jefferson to put them up 28-0.
Yeah.
I mean, great catch by Jefferson, but also a really nice pass by Sam Darnold. And I think if he continues to play like this, you have to put him in consideration for it. I think the one thing that you can see from him is that when he is under pressure, he's more off target than some of the other quarterbacks.
And what quarterback isn't?
Exactly. But truly, his off-target rate when he's pressured is higher than all but 5 quarterbacks in the NFL right now. So that's the one thing. It's like I think he just needs to make sure that his decision-making stays sound, or just not decision-making, but like I think if he is under pressure more, that's the one area that I think could kind of throw him out of that race.
His deep ball's been great. Jordan Addison back. They connect for 2 touchdowns. I mean, what he's done: 208, 2-1. That's week 1. 268, 2-1. The 2 being touchdowns. 181. 4-0, 4 touchdowns today, 3 touchdowns, 1 INT, beating the Packers, which is a good defense in Green Bay, one of the hardest stadiums to play in the NFL. That's where, when we get into the Drake May combo, why we talk offensive line. They have Christian Darrisaw, one of the best left tackles in the league. Okay, we're talking about receivers. Well, he is the best wide receiver in the league. I bring up offensive play calling. Kevin O'Connell's one of the best play callers in the league. We saw Jalen Naylor break out for them. Aaron Jones is used. Jordan Addison's back when TJ Hawkinson's in the fold. With Baker in Tampa, Geno in Seattle, Sam Darnold in Minnesota, we see these quarterback revivals happen time and time again. Darnold was very talented coming out of USC. Shout out Pac-12. See, it's a Pac-12 guy for you. It was the Jets. Yeah, he was seeing ghosting and everything. He learned how to play football again in San Fran. Similar system going to Minnesota with Kevin O'Connell, and now we see him flourish. To me, at this point, he's going to continue to be a top 10, top 12 passer in the NFL because of his situation, and he does elevate this offense, which is really important for him.
Totally agree. Why do you think I brought him up? Pac-12 guy.
You always bring in the Pac-12. Stanford grad.